Huh?
Stop. Sitting now.
Well played.
No one will know.
Usually that's me that does that.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome everybody today to INNSider's latest episode. We actually missed last week because we had a breaking news story that came up, but yeah, we're back this week. We've got a ton of news, ton of news today. We've got stuff all the way ranging from PlayStation 4's big life cycle ending, No Man's Sky gets multiplayer. We've got a bunch of new game announcements. A bunch of controversy announcements this week also, which was thrown in a curveball. A few different things, but we got a ton of news to talk about today. And then of course one of our biggest top news is the passing of famous game reviewer Total Biscuit, which was unfortunate to hear about this week. He lost his battle with cancer. So let's start with one of our big topics today is the new end of life cycle for PlayStation 4. Got a bunch of big stuff about that this week.
Please, no, not like this.
Taylor Club's in chat, and he's like, I didn't know I was supposed to be there today. Sure.
So what do you guys think? What is the big thing for PS4 ending its life cycle already? Which I thought was kind of funny they announced that. Like, why even bother announcing that until you're closer? You know? Oops.
I don't know.
It's pretty close, man. You know, that's like around the corner.
It's not too bad. Like I feel that's a lot of life. That's a lot of life. That's like I said, I was talking about this earlier, and you know what? I feel that okay, we have PS4 released in 2013. Okay, we're at 2018 right now. That's 5 years right there. Okay, we add in another 3 years, presumably. Okay, when the PS5 comes out, that's 8 years, and that doesn't mean it's gonna be completely phased out after. Because we're still gonna get games. I mean, they made FIFA 17 in 2016 for PS3, and it's just a thing. Like they will make more sports games, yes, but we also saw Persona 5 as well on PS3 because it was in development for a long time. So we're gonna
more
be
like
games.
It's 3 years till PS5. It has nothing to really do with the life cycle of PS4.
Exactly, and that's what I feel like a lot of people don't seem to understand. It's just a matter of when it's coming out, and it doesn't mean your PS4 will be collecting dust. Because I remember my friend, he bought PS4 at launch, and he played around with it maybe for like a few days, and then he's like, I have no games to play. What do I do with this thing? Went back to his PS3.
Yeah.
So
I did the exact same thing, dude. I stood in the line, like got a midnight release PS4, got it home, and I think I had Battlefield or something. I got it on PS3, but it was the one that you could put on PS4. That was the only game I could play.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. and there wasn't many like big titles, right? I mean, there was a couple okay titles at launch. I didn't buy it at launch. I waited maybe a year and a half or 2 years before I finally bought my PS4. When Until Dawn and stuff came out, like that's really when I got into it. I was like, I want Until Dawn. I want the remake for Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain. Like when they did the little combo pack for $40, and that ended up being on PS Plus this month for free. I was just like, damn it. But yeah, like they're still talking like it's going to be at least 3 years away for PS5, which means that's a guesstimate probably for them. Like they're probably planning for 3 years, but it'll probably be maybe more likely 4. It's like they did with PS4. PS4 originally was stalled out a year from when it was originally anticipated, supposedly. But I'm curious to see what they end up doing with that.
I mean, I just hope people start to realize this, that like we have years on the PS4, and it doesn't stop people from buying it's a great system. Like they shouldn't stop buying it just because they hear PS5 is coming out in 3 years, or expected in 3 years.
Yeah, it starts people.
I mean, you don't want to be a noob. Like I'm definitely not playing on my PlayStation 4 when there's a 5 out there.
Right.
Like you gotta get good or get wrecked.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
I'm just one of those guys though. If it's new, I like the old stuff's dead to me.
Got the PS4 when Destiny did an update that made the game only playable on next gen. Oh god, yeah. So yeah, when they started doing the whole like exclusive locks to everything, that stuff got really silly. But yeah, I mean that's also true too. Like we were saying with the lifespan of it. I mean, look at when you're a PC gamer, you're upgrading hardware every 3 to 4 years, almost guaranteed. 4 years is pushing it quite a bit. Like your graphics card's going to have to be done at least every 3 years.
Unless you have dual 1080 Ti's, that's pretty much future proof for a while.
I don't have those.
I only have a single 1080 Ti.
Even that lasts you a long ass time.
Yeah, I mean my 770 lasted me for a while until I got the 980 Ti. It lasted me for a while until I got my 1080 Ti.
I was gonna say the 980 Ti was a powerhouse for like ever until
it was
1080s and the Titans came out.
That's what I have on my streaming PC right now, actually.
And those are actually still wicked good graphics.
Oh, they're good. Yeah, they're good.
I mean,
so even that, like maybe you're not on ultra on some of the new games, but you're still on high.
Yeah, yeah, like a 980 Ti is still equivalent, I think, to a 1060 or 1070, or supposedly, or
yeah,
close.
it's still it's a really good card. That's what I mean. Like it's not as bad anymore with PC.
Yeah,
stuff seems to last a little bit longer, even though there's new stuff coming out like every week. It seems.
Yeah, so we were talking about this. Our next topic is this was kind of left over from last week, but we still wanted to talk about it just because it was kind of a big deal. Was No Man's Sky is finally getting multiplayer. It was one of the launch.
Not confirmed though. Sean Murray's just saying it's coming. Which, if we go off last time.
Yeah, it's Sean Murray. Of course, like here we go with the tweet from him saying the free update's coming. Explore together, meet random travelers, do your thing. It's like, okay, Sean Murray. Like, are we really getting it this time, or is this another No Man's Lie?
This feels strong. I mean, I got my hopes up, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already $90.39 on the whole, so I mean.
And you don't even have the game.
Yeah, I don't have the game anymore, and I didn't get a refund, so I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's on Steam, right? Unless they pulled that. I thought they pulled the game from Steam.
No, it's still on Steam.
Still on Steam?
No, they did it for a little bit for the music track thing. They changed out, and then they put it back on. Almost like I think it was like within days. But I think it was around the time that nobody cared, so nobody noticed it.
Yeah, I feel like to gain like the public's trust, especially for something like that, if they do release something like that, I feel that they should do like a free weekend, because like I mean this is happening a lot on Steam, just to try the game out. Do a little free weekend, and then maybe gain the trust, and like maybe people who gave up on the game before will want to try it out to see what's going on, and maybe repurchase the game.
Yeah, maybe that'll be a thing, and like make it to where it's like a little bit cheaper than $60. Because if people go and spend $60 on it and they're not happy, especially if there's not a free weekend,
it is on Steam, and it is stupid expensive.
Is it? Really?
It's 66 Canadian, so it's like $40 American.
That's gonna be
Recent reviews mixed. All reviews mostly negative. 81,000 negative reviews. Wow.
And that's not like that ever improved either. I mean, that's been kind of stuck there for.
It's been stuck there from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because there's also a stat, right? Like if people are happy about a game, like they have to be really happy to write a review. But if somebody's like pissed off about a game, they'll write a review almost immediately.
Well, that was something I think I accidentally removed it too. Is there was an article that came out last week that says like it was something like 68% of Steam users are more likely to write a negative review before they write a positive review, which is like a huge margin. Like they're like, no, fuck this. If I want to go and complain about something, that's the first place I'm going to go is write a bad Steam review so that game doesn't do good later.
I'm surprised, man, because I've been looking around and like everything I've seen, like there's a lot of YouTube stuff coming out about No Man's Sky and people are very happy about it. It's funny that like the reviews are still crazy negative.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I mean like there's not many good reviews coming in, even though they fixed some of the things that people wanted to get. So that was kind of a thing. Like I was sad. I wasn't able to return it because we did a like the day after or 2 days after it came out, we did a 24-hour stream, and my brother played it too long, and we couldn't return it at that point. And I was like, damn it! Like it was literally 2 hours and like 10 minutes, and they're like, no, you can't do it.
Yeah.
And I tried 3 or 4 times for it, and then they blocked me on trying to get a refund on it. So we got our big news for our new releases this week. We got quite a good chunk of new releases. We got our big the Xbox One exclusive. Actually, both consoles had exclusive this week that launched. We had State of Decay 2 for Xbox. The standard edition finally released this week, but last week the deluxe edition opened up for people who bought the deluxe edition early. Basically, they're allowed to play like a week early, or almost a week early. And then we got Detroit Become Human. I want to say New Human for some reason every time I see it, but Become Human, which I'm excited to play. I've got it sitting actually next to me. We've got,
great game.
Yeah, so I got this guy here. So this is another brand new title for this week. Story driven. If you guys haven't played that, it's a lot of fun. It's supposed to be like Heavy Rain or Beyond Two Souls or Until Dawn, like games like that where your choices matter on how your story progresses, which is pretty cool. And then the big, kind of like the controversy of this week is Dauntless has been out on closed beta for now probably well over a year. I think a year and a half for Founders. It's like if you bought yeah, it's been a while. I looked at my email like to see when I bought the Founders pack, 'cause I bought it when it launched.
Okay.
And yeah, it's like well over a year now. But they opened their open beta this week, which is we were trying to stream it on Thursday and Friday. We were actually trying to do a squad up here on INN on Friday, and we couldn't because of the server issues. It had a huge rocky start, like where people were sitting in like 6-7 hour queues. And at first, if they did a maintenance in between that, like your position would be reset, so it would be even longer. And then people started complaining about that, and they're like, oh well, we should probably do something about that. So what they did is if they had a maintenance in the time you were in queue, they put you back in queue where you were, and even pushed you ahead a little bit because you were so patient, especially if you're waiting like 3+ hours. So
that's the thing though. Like with the game going into open beta, we should be expecting this already. The fact that like you said, they're working around the clock to get this all resolved. I mean, it's basically an MMO, or not. We'll just say it's a big open world game with lots of people trying to get inside, and they're overloading the servers. That's a good thing though. If you think about it, there's a lot of players that want to play the game. It's better to have something like that at launch or at an open beta rather than no queue time at all, because no one's really playing the game.
Yeah,
like actually loading servers.
Yeah, in fact, yesterday when I got into queue in the morning, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna expect a long queue today. I'm gonna go ahead and plan early. Like I had a whole day planned anyway. I'm like, let me start the queue now. Yeah, then I'll play it when I get home. When I first got in, there was 196,000 people waiting in queue at that time, and there were still probably double that in game already.
Man, that's rough. So yeah, it's kind of like World of Warcraft then too, in the same sense. Usually, whenever a new expansion comes out, you gotta wait. Just what it is.
Yeah, like somebody was talking about it on the Dauntless Twitter, saying, at least it's better than like League of Legends or some of the other ones. Like there was like queues of like 12 or 13+ hours, and if it was worse, like if you reset the queue or they did server maintenance or something, you couldn't get in for days.
Is that just on my end that Discord's getting choppy?
Yes, I think so.
Fuck.
Uh-oh. But yeah, they've been working on it pretty good. They've actually got queues down to less than an hour. So that's been pretty good. I was actually expecting like to do the same thing. I logged in this morning, and as we were talking, getting ready for the show, it popped up and it's ready. I'm like, wow, that was like 10 minutes. And it had
what was your wait time before? Like 8 hours or something?
Yeah, like yesterday, I waited almost 7 hours. I just did it in the morning at 9:30. I didn't get in until almost 7.
Dude, that's nutty. That's far too dedicated. I would have left.
Well, I was out doing stuff all day, so I just left it. And it was still queued by the time I came back.
Dude, I get mad when ESEA says it's going to take like 4 minutes to find a match. And I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, there's people raging on it. There's a lot of people really happy that the developers were giving very, very constant updates. So that was a good thing. Like, they actually did really, really well. I have to give the Dauntless team, social media team, a lot of credit for that because, holy crap, they were releasing updates every hour, every 30 minutes to an hour, just letting people know that, hey, we're working on the servers, no update yet. We're working on the servers, no update yet. They had a long, I think it was Friday, they had a long maintenance where they were down for almost 6 hours trying to fix
we talked about that on our first show, like especially with like No Man's Sky again is constantly the example. But like even if your game's shitty or something's going on, as long as you're honest and like talking to to like your player base, people don't seem to mind as much.
No, and people were pretty happy about it. Like, thanks for letting us know. Thanks for like, giving us updates. At least it's better than some other developers and stuff. Like when No Man's Sky launched and they were having all those issues, they didn't say shit. They said,
no. Sean Murray became a ghost. He just ghosted the entire world. He's like, later, nerds.
Yeah, like everybody was like surprised when No Man's Sky actually came out with something, or came out with an update, and it was like a year and a half after the last post.
Wasn't the first tweet something about like the company shutting down, and like they came out with this PR thing being like somebody hacked Sean Murray's Twitter account? Like that was the first thing that came out.
Yeah, it was like one of the very first things.
And the actual real content that came after that was like denying that happened. They're like, oh, it was hacked.
Yeah, there was a lot of
pretty bad.
But
it's
overall,
like the example of like what not to do when you launch your game.
Oh, dude, exactly. Yeah, it was hacking your Twitter, getting your Twitter hacked in the first like week. Oh my god. But overall, yeah, Dauntless now is actually playable. You guys could jump right in. You guys could get in less than an hour now. Actually, in fact, like I said, I was in a 73,000 person queue when I first started earlier, and I got in 10 minutes. So I was like, that wasn't bad at all. So we got our big game announcements that came out this week. Some from last week because we didn't get to do our show last week, so we're kind of holding over some of these. But Rage 2, we were talking about it in our last show. Rage 2 got teased on the Walmart E3 leak. Supposedly, like all the big E3 titles. I don't know if you guys remember that, but so a couple days later, Bethesda's like, "You screwed up here. You didn't do this. You got the format and text all wrong." And
I'd like to apologize on our Canadian behalves.
Oh, I like it. I'm glad that we did this as Canadians. It's real time. We fucked something up.
It gives spotlight in a place.
Yeah.
Right, go Canada Walmarts. Leaking all the info.
So the cool part was Bethesda said fuck it, and they announced it anyway, and actually came out with a cool trailer that we got to show you guys today.
Like, what else are you gonna do though? Like, you either roll with that or fight it. Like, there's no point to fight it.
And one better way to do it by saying "dude" as a tweet comment.
And Bethesda's really cool about that. Like, when their games have been leaked in the past, they're just like, "Fuck it, we've got something for you here. Have fun with it."
That's pretty. Yeah, that's respectable.
But yeah, we got a trailer to show you guys for Rage 2. It looks really fun. I'm excited to see it. So let's check that out real quick.
When the asteroid hit, billions were gone in the blink of an eye. Tribes rose up. Alliances formed. Territory was conquered. There was no one left alive to tell you no. And in this wild, wide open place, if you wanted something bad enough, it was yours for the taking. You see, in a world where there are no rules, insanity rules.
So that was the Rage 2 trailer, man. Like, that looks like a lot of fun. That looks like more chaotic than the first one for sure.
Looks like Borderlands and, I don't know, Doom had a baby.
I was thinking Borderlands meets like Mad Max or something.
Maybe even with Halo. Halo mixed a little bit in because of all the jumping and smashing and stuff.
Yeah, a little bit of Bulletstorm.
Yeah, a little bit of Bulletstorm too. Actually, yeah, Bulletstorm will probably be the more accurate one for that. For sure, but that looks like a lot of fun. Like, I'm actually pretty excited about that one. Rage 1 was a lot of fun. I never got to finish it, but that might be something I have to revisit before then.
I think I had that game. If it's the game I'm thinking of,
I'm pretty sure everybody has it. Like, you used to be able to get it for free for a long time. Like, there was so many times, like, you could just pick up the game for free from some random retailer. Even then, like, I think Greenland Gaming had it on sale for $3 the other day. $3 US.
Well, look at that. I do have it.
Yeah, see? Everybody's got it. Everybody. So the next big announcement that came out this week was the Battlefield 5 announcement. And this one's kind of like brought up a lot of controversy this week because of a few different things.
Sensitivity training, maybe?
Yeah, not enough sensitivity training. Well, the first
maybe too much?
Too much. The first big news of Battlefield 5 is that it's got no season pass, finally, no premium pass, which is kind of a first for Battlefield. Battlefield, like almost all of them have had some kind of premium pass or DLC pass or something or another since 3. I think it's 3, 4, Battlefield 1. 2 had its own expansions, which were different. So that was slightly different than the other one. I'm a Battlefield fan, however, the COD reveal was better. Yeah, the COD reveal I was actually almost excited about for this.
Yeah, but it's COD.
I know.
It is COD. It's just COD.
Like, Battlefield always beats COD.
Except for when it gets to like the young kids, man. And for whatever reason, the young kids go crazy over
I
COD.
think it's because like you can just hop in and it's quick and it's
it's
Battlefield's
more,
a little bit more like patient.
Yeah, and like in COD, it's an arcade shooter. Let's be honest. It's something where you just point, shoot. You know?
Yeah, you can just hop in, get some frags, and you're done. Like there's nothing really to it. I get the appeal, I just not for me.
Yeah, so like no more premium pass, which is kind of the big deal for Battlefield. But the big like thing that everybody's been kind of pissed off about is the female characters in the trailer. For whatever reason, everybody's super butthurt about that. They're like, no, it's not historically accurate and all this other stuff. And there's like people being like, all right, let's be real here. My grandma was in World War II. Like, I'm not even making this up when I say this. My dad was actually in World War II. But this is like something I'm like, you guys, nobody complained about this in the first one, like Battlefield 1, where it was World War I setting, which is less likely that there was female people. True. World War II was a little bit more historically accurate with that. But accuracy aside, you're playing a video game with respawns. That already takes away the realism.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What was that TV series on HBO everybody loved so much with World War II?
Band of Brothers?
Yeah, Band of Brothers. There was chicks in there, maybe not in the main story, but they ran into them occasionally. There was medics and like other people. So it's not like it's that far of a stretch. I get like in a traditional combat unit frontline setting, maybe there's not so many females, probably none. But like they were still in World War II.
Oh yeah,
they were so upset about this.
I think even Band of Brothers actually like ran into an all-female squad in one of the episodes where they were like an infiltration unit or something crazy like that. But I'm like, why was it such a big deal? But
I don't get it, man. Like that weird. Like honestly, I saw the trailer and like that's pretty cool. Never once did it cross my mind like, man, there's a chick in there. I'm a fucking historian, and this shit has got to go.
Well, it's like no, it comes down to this whole thing where we're talking about sensitivity training. Like, what the hell? Like, why are people so upset about this one thing?
It's just a bunch of chauvinistic pigs that are like, internet pitchforks, it'll work. Let's do it.
Yeah, basically, there's just something to complain about. And EA ended up responding, as I put the link in chat here, but they're basically like, hey, they're here to stay. We're not taking them out. We're not changing it. But remember, think about this going back even, I think, a year or two. We had everybody complaining that there was not female characters to play in the game. Like, this is kind of like this one back and forth, like, what the hell are you guys talking about? Like, now, first you complain they're not there, and now we're bringing them there where it's historically accurate, and now you're complaining that they're there.
Well, that just kind of just proves it, you know? Like, you just can't please everybody, apparently. So
No.
I don't think I've ever played a video game for historical accuracy either.
Nope.
Like, I've never been like, man, you know what I'd really like to do? I want to learn about World War II. I'm going to fire up some Battlefield. Like, nope.
No.
That's not how that works.
I just want to shoot shit.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, like I want to shoot things with World War II guns, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Like, that's why I'm playing that game. If you want to go for historical accuracy, like fire up Netflix, find a documentary, watch it.
Yeah, watch something that's like a little closer to it. But yeah, it was kind of like whatever. For me, it doesn't bother me any. It's cool. It gives people a reason to play, a reason to do something different, reason if they want to play a female character in the game, they can play a female character. There's a lot of
Maybe
people
it's
that I know
gonna
that do.
force you to be a female in the story, and that's gonna trigger the shit out of people.
Yeah.
Lord.
Oh man.
Oh, man.
That's when the real controversy begins when it comes out.
Like, it's forcing me to be a chick. Brr.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get back to that one when it comes out to see what they really do with it and everything. So I'm curious to see what they do. So our next big reveal, going back to Battlefield, we've got the Call of Duty Black Ops 4 revealed. That was revealed last week, and that was actually kind of a big deal too, because it seems like for the first time they're actually changing their formula up a bit. For one, they're not bringing out a story. So that's our big thing. Number one, like, they're not doing a story for the first time. That's always been their, like, pinnacle of their games, is their crazy enhanced, oh my god stories that they're going to throw you into. But of course, Activision finally follows suit and they bring in Battle Royale. Everybody's like, why Battle Royale?
This is a side thing though, like the Battle Royale, right? It's not like the main.
It's replacing the story mode. So that
they're gonna have their regular multiplayer, and then there's like almost a side game that's Battle Royale.
Yeah, that's Battle Royale. So like that's gonna be the big thing for this, is they're basically going and getting on the Battle Royale train with everybody else.
Yeah.
And being like, hey, let's do a Battle Royale, and we could probably do it better because we're COD. Like, I think that's almost how the way they're thinking about it.
They can though. Like, if you look at COD traditionally, like their engine and their maps and stuff, it's always tight and condensed and small. Like, how's that engine gonna perform on like a wide, big scale?
I don't think I've ever seen it on a console, like, as in the COD game. I don't think I've ever seen more than like 20 players in one game, really.
I think 24 is the usual max, for the big modes.
Yeah.
For war mode.
Like, I think their biggest maps were like the story ones where you're firing from the Spectre gunship and stuff. Like, every other map was like very narrowed off, very constricted. Like, it's gonna be weird to see how it goes with like a big open battle royale type setting.
Yeah. And they kind of had They had an article out that was basically saying, how Activision's like, you know what, Epic's really kind of changing the way we're thinking about games, so we're gonna
let's rip their idea off.
Yeah, let's rip their idea off. Well, technically, it's not even theirs. It was.
It's not even
Brendan
theirs,
Green's.
exactly.
It's Brendan Green's idea from the get go. I mean, he's the guy who basically invented the genre. I've always.
I think the first one I played was the culling. I don't know if you guys remember that one.
Yeah.
Culling? Yeah. Okay, that's another BR. Yep.
Yeah, that was the first one I remember like playing ever, and you were like crafting shit. It was terrible. It was honestly the worst.
I didn't mind it.
That's the first one. Well, it was funny. It was like hilarious. Like, every time somebody died, that cheesy like 50s announcer.
Yeah, the cheesy.
That was that was the best part of that game, and that game. I mean, it's a little off topic, but that game was great, but it was plagued by balance issues basically, and they could never get it right, and they kept doing wild changes instead of subtle changes.
It was like CCP nerf batting. Basically,
but it was like they were hitting it back and forth to overpowered to not powered, and then back and forth.
Yeah, it's like bad bracketing, like going one way too far, then back the other way too far. Like, usually bracketing, you like start splitting the difference.
Yeah. So the other big thing is obviously with Call of Duty World War II, they changed the formula where they actually finally optimized a game for PC. So like, it actually plays pretty good on PC. Like, it's viable now. But not only that, like for Call of Duty Black Ops 4, they're actually bringing it to Battle.net, which is a huge deal. Like, they're not.
Well, because COD's never really had a big PC following, right? It's always mainly console.
And now it's actually almost the opposite. Like, as consoles dying off, like the PC port is actually picking up speed, which was kind of weird. It's like a new thing for it. Their like registered users was pretty high, I think, last time I looked.
But either way, like traditionally in the past, like COD, like Battlefield always does really well on everything, and then COD's like a console kind of only thing.
Yeah. See, the thing is with COD, I feel that, like, I've always been saying this, COD needs to change what they're doing. And it doesn't mean hopping the bandwagon, because now we have already a lot of VR games, and they're still making more, and you adding a Battle Royale mode isn't really changing the game. You're just saturating the market more.
It's a gimmick to try and get people's attention.
Exactly.
Well, I see it them trying to battle Epic to some degree, because Epic is the only one that's got a Battle Royale on all platforms. And they're kind of being like, well, we could reach most platforms, not quite mobile like they're doing, but we could reach the main console base and PC player base. And they want to give them something that already comes with the game they're already buying.
Even with that,
Battlefield's going to throw one out.
H1Z1 is currently on PS4 now, right? We have also that on PC. What about is that on Xbox One? I'm not even too sure.
Which one?
I don't think so. H1Z1.
No, H1Z1's not. It's only
No?
PS.
Cool.
It's sticking with the Sony exclusive.
Okay.
So it's going to be
Okay,
PC, PS4, and then you've got PUBG, which is only Xbox, but
Xbox One.
But that's losing a lot of ground too. Like we actually had some news last week on that, but I think I pushed it off for this week. But they basically did all kinds of weird stuff. Like the mobile version got the Miramar map before Xbox did, which pissed off everybody. So they were like, "Oh shit, we got to release it now." So they went and released.
PUBG?
Yeah, on PUBG. So the Miramar map went on PUBG Mobile first. And then a week later, it was released on Xbox finally. But they did like an emergency announcement. They didn't even they told people like 4 days or 5 days before it came out on Xbox.
Yeah. My buddy was like freaking out at work about that because he was like on PC and we were all talking about like the new Miramar map and how fun it is. He's like, "No, I'm on console, I don't have it." And then it came out on mobile, and he was like, "What the actual fuck?"
And it's funny because apparently the mobile version is like the most optimized version out of everything.
Which is oddly enough,
right?
For PUBG?
Yeah.
I believe it.
Maybe the inability to control your character like syncs up with the shitty netcode and server tick.
Yeah. So there was also like on a side like PUBG announcement. I actually saw this. I think it was this morning. Brennan Green announced that he's like, or not announced, but he commented that yes, our performance updates have been really lacking, and we need to be improving that more. And I'm like, yeah, that's like the number one complaint. Like everybody loved PUBG, but the problem is it was never optimized, like ever. Even now, like you still have to have a relatively beefy machine to still play it, let alone stream it. Streaming it's a whole nother ballgame.
Then you can just fire up Fortnite, that's free, and it runs amazing and has no issues. Like,
and people can play it on low end machines, not even medium end. You can play it on low end. Like if you go and drop that graphics down to potato, it's not going to be any different. It's the same graphics essentially.
Yeah, it's
little less glowy, but that's whatever.
Even Shroud was saying it on one of his streams. I think Summit convinced him to play Fortnite with him, and he's like, "Man, I wish PUBG played like this." And it's like the whole stream is just talking about how much better Fortnite was.
Yeah. That's kind of like the same thing with whole like this is why games are successful too, is the fact that these games will run on a lower end PC. Like for instance, you can look at League of Legends and Dota. You need a slightly higher end PC in order to run Dota compared to League of Legends.
It all comes down to accessibility. And how accessible it is to the customer. If we can play it on a low-end machine, that's a wider player base. Like people can play it on a shitty laptop and take it out with them on the go. I mean, even then,
unless you're gonna have the next like benchmark game, like the next Crisis, there's really no point to try and make a game that's like super high-end graphics because like you're just restricting the audience you can reach.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, even Crisis, like they even admit they made mistakes by releasing too high of an end. I mean,
even Crisis 3 now, even still, is like sometimes there's like graphical lag and shit. Like,
oh yeah, no, I mean, there's if you go look at any of the benchmark sites, they still put Crisis in there as a benchmark game for graphics because of that.
A lot of them, but they're starting to switch to Ashes of a Singularity, which is a pretty crazy game.
Yeah. So this one actually has kind of like gotten to me a little bit, and I used to love this game, but it kind of pissed me off with this idea. Rocket League is now coming out with a Battle Pass equivalent. It's called a Rocket Pass, and like
it's car football.
Yeah, I love this game at launch. It was a fantastic game. I think me and my brother streamed it for our first like 6 months streaming, next to Crossout and a few other games. And my brother got really good at it. Like him and one of our other friends, like they played it to where they were like really high ranked, and in the ranked games. But now they're like just getting crazy with all their DLC and all their premium packs and all this other stuff. Like everything is turned into a cash grab for them. And this kind of like gives me another feeling like it's just another cash grab, like trying to copy the Battle Pass. Like Paladins, we've already seen this. Paladins literally did a straight ripoff of Fortnite's Battle Pass, like in the styling and everything. Like there was no difference in it.
That's rough.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah. They changed a couple little buttons. Rocket Pass. Yeah, and I think they're doing the same thing. Everybody's like, sounds the same, but you're making it Rocket Pass. It's a little different, right, guys? Right? You gotta get your
Rocket Pass, man. If you want to win, you're gonna need a Rocket Pass.
Which is almost.
If we think about it this way too, like these passes, it's like a form of like some sort of subscription, really. If we think of it this way, where it's like, what about these people that are selling season passes before, and now they're still selling them as season passes, where people are hopping onto that to sell all the DLC at once? Isn't it quite the same though?
No, this one's just unlocking additional cosmetics that's only available for that season. But you have to play either play it or you could pay for the upgrades.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So it's kind of different. Like the season pass just gave you the content when it was available. This one is like, well, you're gonna pay you to give the option to play for this.
Wait a second. Or pay twice?
Yeah. So that's what Fortnite does with their battle pass. If you go into Fortnite, you could go in there and buy the battle pass, and then you could buy the tiers to upgrade the battle pass faster. In fact, you could go through and not even play a single game and have the whole battle pass unlocked and all the cosmetics for it. Now the upgrades are a different story. They force you to do those with the challenges, like the suit upgrades and stuff like that. That all comes with it.
I'm still rocking default skins for Fortnite. Fuck it, I'll never get anything.
I don't blame you there.
Skins equal wins, but you know it's a random thing. You don't have any, so whatever.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of cool, but at the same time, like Rocket League is coming off as one of those games where it's starting to rub me the wrong way now with all these like different DLCs and stuff. Only partially because it's me, it's a personal problem because like I love buying the cosmetics for certain games, especially if I really enjoy them. But Rocket League has come out with so many that I can't keep up with them. Like it's literally up to the point where I can't keep up with their DLC, and I don't play it enough to justify it either. So that's a different, that's a whole different issue for me.
I do understand like what Potato Pleb is saying too. Like if you have a free to play game, you have to have some sort of season pass or like microtransactions. You have to, otherwise your company's not going to make any fucking money or exist. Except
Rocket League isn't free. It's $30.
Yeah, it's not free. You have to buy it.
Yeah, okay, I just meant like about like the Fortnite stuff.
Oh yeah, Fortnite, yeah. For Fortnite it makes sense. For Rocket League it does not make sense, I don't think.
How much is Rocket League? I see so many people playing that.
I think it's $30, 20 or $30 for me.
Something like that, I think.
I mean, it wasn't too bad really, but so we got our next story. We got a lot of stories today, like a lot of different like things we're touching base on. Days Gone, and like a lot of people are coming out, and I mean this is also along with one of our, like I think it's delayed again actually. Days Gone I think got delayed again, but some of the people that have got a hold of it is saying it's a great, impressive, amazing open world, but it doesn't have it doesn't bring a whole lot of new ideas.
Oh shit, I just scrolled down to another page. I didn't realize there was this many more things.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of stuff today.
I was like, it's not so bad. There's just one page. Nope.
Well, yeah, full price games should have any content lock behind paywall. Yeah, that's true. I fully, wholeheartedly agree as a gamer. Like, you shouldn't have to go and put anything behind a paywall again after you already bought the game. Like, cosmetics, yeah, sure, that's fine. But that's basically all Rocket League ever does. So they give you the option. But most people are like, well, that's pretty cool. I kind of want that. How do you get it?
Long gone are the days where you bought the game and just got everything that game had to offer.
Yeah. As soon as they realize, oh wow, we can't not just, release update games, via wireless updates or OTA updates essentially for the games, but we can also release more content too, and then people will pay for it. Like it's like a whole new thing for them,
Just more ways to make that money.
Yeah. So I don't know. The Days Gone one kind of concerns me a little bit. Not there. Like as the post was saying, it's like it's really not. Oops, it's not really bringing anything new or different or unique, aside of just a different kind of world with it. But as far as zombie games go, it's a zombie game,
and that's exactly it. It's just a zombie game, and people are it's hard to like. It's kind of like with State of Decay 2, right? People are they know that the zombie genre is just like it's been milked out, and they need to do something quite impressive in order for people to be captivated by it. But what else do you do at this point? I think we've touched everything at this point,
Yeah, I mean, look, going back to Fortnite. Look at Fortnite. It originally started out as a zombie game.
Zombie, exactly. Save the world, and it didn't do too well, which is why they hopped on the battle royale wagon. It's just, what do you do at this point with these genres?
I mean, I
think zombie games are honestly like yeah. What else do you do now? I think it's done.
Yeah.
Like Dying Light really changed a lot of the stuff for some of the zombie stuff in terms of like the whole craftability stuff and all that. That brought a whole unique feel to it. Then Dead Island 2 tried to do the same thing not too long after.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of different things there. So we got a list of actually new games we got some news about that are getting delayed. Which were some of these I'm legitimately sad about. The Final Fantasy VII one, which is our first one we're going to talk about, is actually the one that kind of scares me the most, because there's a couple different rumors that have gone around. Like, some of them have been the original developer that they started working on the Final Fantasy VII remake, which I'm looking forward to. I love Final Fantasy as a kid, like especially Final Fantasy VII. It has a special place.
This one hurts me right in the feels that this is delayed.
Yeah, and it's not even like a little delay. Like this is talking about like a 5 or 6 year delay.
I'll probably be dead by then. Like who knows?
We'll probably see on PS5.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it'll probably be on PS5.
Yeah.
Originally released on PS1, it's coming for PS5.
That'll be its flagship on launch. Final Fantasy VII Remake Episode 1.
Yeah, and apparently they've scrapped it. They've scrapped it twice now. Apparently, like the progress they started getting on the remake, and Square Enix was just not happy with it, so they're just like, "Fuck it, we're gonna do it right with somebody else."
Isn't it like they
also
also decided to put it aside because of Kingdom Hearts though? That's
that
what
too.
I heard.
That too.
Yeah.
Like, well, and it's an entirely different studio too. It's not Square Enix core studio that's doing it. It's they outsourced it, and apparently the outsourced material is not the greatest.
I don't know why they don't just do what they did with Secret of Mana and just like have the exact same story, the exact same game mechanics that everybody loved. Everybody loved grinding and like being able to like out level your enemies, and just put next gen graphics to it, because that worked amazing with Secret of Mana. For anybody that got,
I would have been fine with that too.
Yeah,
I would have, because now they're changing like the gameplay and like everything you know about that game is going to be different except for the story. I think they should have just released it like, here's the same fucking game again with next level graphics. So I'm still playing Final Fantasy VII, the original, on my PC, and it's still amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean that's one game I would love to see redone. Of course, it was Final Fantasy VII. Another one that really is kind of an oddball one, but you had to be really around at the time that it came out, was Legend of Dragoon. That was another one I would love. I would absolutely love.
You're
that
honestly
game
the first person I've ever heard that knows about that game. I used to play that game, and every time I brought that game up, people were like, "What? What the fuck are you talking about?"
Dude, that game I played through probably 4 times, like at least. It was so good. The story was just so damn good, and the cinematics were even more amazing.
Yeah,
have you ever
it was
played
a really good game.
A game called Legend of Legaia for PS?
That one was also really good.
It's
played
different.
Legend of Gaia, not Legaia.
Oh, Legaia is great because the way the battle system worked, it was turn-based, but you would actually put in directions to make combo, to use different skills and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. It was nice.
Oh, yeah.
Off topic, but in the remake sort of area, Chrono Trigger. They need to make a new Chrono Trigger.
Yes.
I would be excited about Chrono Trigger too.
Dude, that's all I played yesterday while I was at work on my phone was Chrono Trigger, and I'm like, why don't they remake this? You sons of bitches, make it.
Or Star Ocean, yeah. Star Ocean would be another one. So we got
I thought it was Star Tropics, not Star Ocean.
Oh yeah. Another delayed one, which also was kind of surprising because I thought they were the last update we got from them. They were saying they were almost done, which was Metro Exodus. The next
there's
one.
been a lot of trailers for this and like
Yeah,
a lot of updates. Like, it's weird that this got delayed.
Yeah, this one kind of came as a shock to me because it looked like it was almost ready. Like as much press they were starting to put into it, and then it slowed down right after this release or this announcement, saying it got delayed because they were gearing up as if it was coming out like right after E3 or something. And
like everything they were doing was like, this game's on track and it's going to be good, and then like delayed. What?
It's delayed to next year, which I don't mind. Like if it's going to be, if it's going to make the game a little bit better, that's good. But at the same time, I'm like, man, like 2033 and Last Light, they were both delayed too, in reality. I mean, 2033 wasn't announced it was delayed. It was just, it didn't have a determined date until they finally did release it. But it was like, oh, it's not ready yet. It's not ready yet. Every E3 they were showing it off for a while, and they kept doing the same thing. Another one that I know is going to be kind of close to Podrick's heart, one of our INN streamers, is Phoenix Point also got delayed, which apparently came news right after their closed beta for their founders. Their closed beta really, or I guess, revealed a lot of big problems for them, and it wasn't talked about here, but he talks about it a little bit in the video where some of that came out. But he wanted to make sure that it's a fantastic game at launch. And this is talking about the guy that originally released the original XCOM.
Pipman asked what kind of chairs we have. Mine's a Cobra.
DX Racer for me.
Same, DX Racer.
I got the no-name brand.
I had at the time there were like all these companies hadn't started really popping up yet for the different chair brands, and DX Racer was the only one, but it's the only one that also fits for somebody my size because I'm a relatively large guy.
You get a Maxnomics, get Dr. Disrespect's chair.
I would love a Maxnomics.
Custom made for his extreme size.
Dude, that guy's tall. I saw him at TwitchCon last year.
Yeah,
He's
pretty
huge.
tall.
But he's not like a big dude. He's just tall.
Just tall. Yeah, he's just
Yeah,
tall.
that's it.
I mean, he's like, what? I think he's 6'5", 6'6", something like that.
I'm 6'2", and this chair works for me. So
Yeah.
I didn't have to get it custom made for those extra 3 inches, apparently.
And another one, it was kind of another one of our delays that we're talking about today was Skull and Bones. I haven't heard anything about Skull and Bones in a long time, and all of a sudden it's like it's delayed again. Like, did it actually have a release date? Like, last I knew, like this game's been quiet for.
Yeah, they said it was coming out this year. Then it kind of went quiet. That game was super disappointing though. Like all the trailers were like, "Oh my god, this game looks so good," and then you look at it and it's pirates, but World of Warships.
You
watch the actual gameplay, it's exactly like World of Warships, like the way you zoom in, and even the old school cannons fire like regular cannons. Like the time of flight for a cannonball is almost instantaneous. It's like you're playing World of Warships. It's crazy. I was like, oh, this looks terrible.
I honestly thought it was going to be
it.
a Sea of Thieves, but when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay.
I thought it was going to be more like realistic, less like jokey, cartoony Sea of Thieves. And
yeah, exactly.
It's like World of Warships, and they just reskin the battleships into pirate ships.
Well,
pretty much.
You know what Skull and Bones actually came out of, right? Or derived from? Assassin's Creed Black Flag. It's actually the gameplay taken out of that and made into a new game. People loved Black Flag's pirate portion of the game so much that they turned it into the game portion of it and made a whole new variation of it. Just took the characters out, basically off the deck instead.
Any of the gameplay I saw was like, this doesn't look anything like I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and they're saying it's like at least April. And they're saying, and another article, I don't think I linked it in here, but I think it was even saying as far as 2020, like being delayed until, and I'm like, it's going to be kind of late to the game, but I kind of see why they would want to do it. They wouldn't want to release it in the same year as Sea of Thieves.
Did we talk about Anthem being delayed?
No, I didn't even know Anthem got delayed.
Yeah, it got delayed. And a lot of people are pretty pissed off about it because they were claiming it's going to be the Destiny killer. Anthem was going to be the Destiny killer, and now it's delayed.
You know,
people just need to relax about stuff like that, because if you want a good game, you gotta wait. And I feel like with Destiny, that was a thing where they got pushed to meet deadlines. And look at the game now, where it sits.
Yeah,
I don't mind when good games get delayed for the right reasons.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But when a game gets delayed and it comes out and it's still shit, it's like, well,
yeah,
what would this have been if you released it on time?
Yeah.
Like, how bad would that have been?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real though. Destiny doesn't need a Destiny killer game. It's doing a good job on its own.
Yeah,
it's killing itself just fine.
Yeah, it's doing its own job on that one. It's just
It's like if the game came out and was like, I'm gonna be the next No Man's Sky killer.
Yeah, pretend to play the same thing. Destiny ended up being a Destiny killer itself.
Yeah,
it killed itself.
Oh man. So
it happens with more and more games though recently.
Dude. Like, well, Destiny, like, it started out great. Everybody was excited because they fixed all the good stuff in Destiny 1. Destiny 2 came out. It was slower. It was more clunky. It was, like, the supers weren't the same. Like, the supers thing was a really big problem for me. When I tried the beta, I was like, it takes forever to get your super now. Like, you can't just kill, like, a boss enemy and get a couple, light orbs and then have your super and go to the next group with something. This one, you had to kill, like, 4 or 5 big mobs before you had a super, and then when you really needed it, you didn't have it still.
But with taking a backpedal there for a second, with games killing themselves, I think we talked about this last week when the show didn't happen. Was like now with like all the internet pitchforks and like everybody expecting every game to be everything they've ever hoped and dreamed, like that ends up being a problem now too with games dying. So some games aren't that bad, but people just expect so much out of it.
So much out of it, yeah.
The expectation gets too high.
Yeah, and then the negative reviews come out, and then the game just dies off, and it really wasn't maybe that bad of a game, but everybody's connected to the internet now, and everybody can write a shitty review.
Yeah, and
that's like threatening a restaurant with Yelp.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing we talked about earlier. Everybody's more likely to write a bad review than a good one.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Like who's gonna really say it? Like the only real voice, at least I know as far as gamers go, is either streamers on YouTube or streamers on Twitch. And like, where else are you gonna get like honest to God, like real life answers for any of that stuff? I mean,
well, that's what Twitch is really good for too, is like game reviews. Like a lot of times before I buy a game, I'll go check it out on Twitch and see how check out a couple streamers and see what like the general consensus is.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you get an actual, like, you don't get to see trailer gameplay, you see real gameplay. And let's be honest, trailer gameplay is never what the actual game ends up being.
Exactly. And it's
not so like in-game engine, but like it never is that.
Yeah, no. And that's the thing that everybody wants to make sure it's good, which is understandable. But at the same time, the internet pitchforks need to calm down a little bit. I hope it will, but I'm pretty sure it will not. In fact, it'll probably get worse.
It's 100% going to get worse. It's definitely not going to calm down. You see, even with the Battlefield 5 trailer, there's a chicken there, and people are like, "Bah!"
And that was like the controversy all up until after the release. Nobody was like commenting on, oh man, it's another World War II game. No, like the only comments that you ever saw were like, oh my god, it's a chick in a Battlefield game, or I'm excited about Battlefield, or I hated the fact that there was a chick in it. And that was like the only stuff that was talked about in the game.
The thing I first picked up on, because I was watching on my phone like a dummy, and like the chick's got like a false arm, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, bionic arm.
But in my small phone, it looked like, remember that I think it was PS3, maybe PS2, that their launch title was like Resistance, Fall of Man or something like that, and there was like people with like bionic arms, but it was in a World War II kind of setting.
Yeah.
That's what I thought they were doing, because I couldn't really see that it was just like a prosthetic arm, and I was like, oh my god, are they doing like an alien shooter? Like, what's going on here? Turns out I was just way off basis and retarded.
It's okay. I mean,
but never once was I like, oh, there's a chick in there. Done.
Yeah, no, like, that's the same thing. Like, I looked at it and I was like, that's pretty cool. Like, why does she have a bionic arm, though? I'm like, I mean, the prosthetics thing I could kind of get. The prosthetics really weren't a thing.
Is it actually bionic? Because, like, when I rewatched it, it just looks like one of those, like...
Yeah, it's a claw prosthetic, but I mean, and then, like, at that point in time, I don't think prosthetics were really a thing.
No, I don't think so either.
Well, I mean, they've had prosthetics since pirate days. Peg legs.
Peg leg, yeah, but not that kind of prosthetic.
Not like a gripping, you know, like the little claw, like finger claw thing. So, yeah,
that's a little, like, if anybody's bitching about historical correctness, why aren't they picking on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, that was one of the things they were picked on. Not as, I mean, the fact that she was a woman was one thing. That was, like, the basis. But then they're like, and then she's got this, too.
Do you think if they put the prosthetic on one of the dudes and the chick had all of her parts, it would have been less upsetting to people?
Probably. I almost guarantee you it probably would have been less. They would have been like, that dude has a prosthetic, that's so cool. And then the girl is like, oh, it's just a girl in the game. Like, what?
Or they don't notice the prosthetic at all and just still focus on this.
Exactly. That's probably what would have happened, too. I almost guarantee it.
Yeah, there'd be comments like, but what about that prosthetic, though? And people would be like, what?
Yeah, I still don't get the upset thing about that. Like, I get some of it to a degree, but I'm like, it's not anything you should be raving about on the internet.
No.
Holy shit, Drayden's awake.
Oh my god. Drayden, what's up, buddy? So we got our other big news. This is actually carried over from last week too, but I felt like it was still important enough to talk about because esports is becoming such a big thing now. Like, I mean, in fact, while we're live right now, there is like 5 or 6 different tournaments going on. I think Overwatch League is still going on this weekend. Battle Right's got their thing going on right now. League of Legends, I think, also has something going on right now. There's quite a few of them that have like big tournaments that are going on right now, and it's kind of like one of those things. It's like, I don't know how, like, I mean, it's a big money maker, I get it, but it's crazy. So the U.S. Supreme Court apparently opened the door to legal esports gambling, and basically they turned around the law that says you can't do it. So now it's like, it's an ambiguous thing, like, oh, well, now you could just do it. How about that? Have fun with it. And it was a law made back in like 92, I think. Yeah.
I cannot wait to lose so much money betting on Counter-Strike.
So I'm like, but it's not even just esports, it's sports in general, which also included esports. And I was like,
you know, it's 2018. Like, let's be honest. There's professional esport players making near as much as like professional hockey players or basketball players and like stuff like that now.
Oh yeah.
It's not like when esports first came out, it was like LAN parties and like barely had enough money to run.
I mean, the only ones you ever heard of even back in the day, and the only ones I participated in back in the day was like Halo, you know, MLG tournaments and stuff, which MLG I don't even think is much of a thing anymore, or not as much.
MLG is more of a meme now than it is an actual organization.
Yeah. I mean,
but it's like, yeah, well, like the old 1.6 tournaments for Counter-Strike and stuff, like that stuff was like barely keeping afloat back then.
Like I said, like you look at my shirt, it's a meme. Like this is MLG Deadpool.
It's Deadpool with a taco.
I have a shirt like that, but it's Major League Infidel, and it's like the same thing, but it's got like a guy holding a rifle. We have one here overseas.
I've got like this one. I've got like Major League Jedi, which is like it's got the Jedi on it. Then I've got like Major League Badass, which is Daryl from Walking Dead. There's a couple. It's basically turned into a meme. Like there's no way
Also,
around it.
Drayton brings up a point. Apparently, like it's not blocked federally, but individual states could still be like, no, this is no good.
Yeah, but in reality, like if they're gonna go and do anything like that, they're just gonna tax it instead and make money off of it. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah, there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
Like if it's not blocked by the federal government, then why not make money off it?
I mean, like horse racing, for example. Like I know people that go. Like there's a racetrack here, less than 10 miles away from me. Like the state makes tons of money off of the horse race tracks for betting and gambling and stuff like that. Like, why wouldn't they do the same thing to something that's now legalized? Like, especially it would be even a bigger market because the market is massive right now for esports. I mean, look at with Epic just announcing $1 million tournament. Their next tournament's gonna be over $1 million. Like what?
Like Fortnite tournament?
Yeah, for Fortnite.
Yeah.
So their next Fortnite tournament, they've guaranteed that their tournaments are gonna be $1 million. Like
PUBG was handing out some big money in their tournaments too.
Yeah, I think their first one was 500K or something.
Yeah, it was up there, man. Like
It was
I
up
remember
there,
watching like Shroud, the one where Shroud, the Doc, and like a bunch of other like big Fortnite PUBG players were doing it, and they won like a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
The only problem with like any BRs being an esport is like you have to get rid of the RNG, and the only way to do that without changing the core integrity of what the game is to add extra matches, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So, and you've already seen it with like the PUBG ones where they tried to like condense it, but they still like you're playing a minimum of 10 games just to average out the RNG factor of it, and even that, like that's a long time to be playing for one victor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think even them, they're for PUBG in specific anyway, they're moving all of their tournaments to the small map, the new Sandhawk map. So that's going to be their
They have to.
And it's the only one that makes sense. It's not going. The games aren't going to last 45 minutes anymore, being on the big maps. So that's kind of like the big thing on that one. So moving on. So we got another one that actually kind of surprised me a bit, which I don't know if it was just a lack of interest or if it was a money deal or what happened to it, but Best Buy shut down their Gamers Club Unlocked, which was the only way in a brick and mortar store to get 20% off of your brand new game that just came out. The only company that does that now is Amazon with their new releases if you have Prime. So like, okay, so they go and they took that away, and now they basically ran it. They're running it like if you have a current subscription, you can still use it. It's perfectly fine. You get like the extra reward certificates, all that kind of stuff. But now the program itself is dead, which really kind of sucks. Like that was one of the last like brick and mortar style things. Like as we know, God knows that GameStop will never ever do that. You don't ever want to put anything on discount unless it's pre-owned. That's pretty much their business model. I mean, I think Jern, you know a little bit about that, right?
Yeah, a little bit about that. I mean, I don't work for them, but I mean, it's definitely not as good as what you would get with like Amazon or like you said with that Best Buy. Basically, discount with the 20% off. Usually, bigger companies like that or companies like that would rather get exclusive DLC stuff and push it out as an incentive for people to pre-order through them, right?
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but
it's getting to the point too with like DLC or them pushing like these little things to incentivize people. Like the real incentive anymore is going to be making the game cheaper. Like if you're going to go and make the game cheaper so I could go and buy more stuff later on in game, that's going to be a bigger deal coming up, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And like I just feel that with something that they're going to give out as a DLC incentive, maybe it'll be something like even like a small physical tangible thing. It doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, you use this thing for like maybe max an hour. Let's just say it's like a piece of gear. It's a beginner's piece of gear where it helps you get started. You use that for an hour, it's done. That's it.
Like the best example I could give of that is the what is it called? Division DLC. Like they gave you at launch. It was all this cool, great DLC, but you only used it for like first hour maybe.
Yeah,
tops. It was insane.
Pretty much.
So I mean, yeah, that was kind of silly. So the next one we actually have this saved over from last week, which was kind of ended up being a big deal, was Boss Key Studios shut down. It was announced it was being shut down by its creator Cliffy B. Basically, if you guys don't know, Cliff Walensky was the main producer for the Gears of War series before he moved over and made his own company, which was Boss Key Studios. Boss Key Studios started out making Lawbreakers, which kind of turned out to be a flop because it was released at such a bad time, and the price point was a little too high, to be honest. And then they came out with Radical Heights, which was a buggy, terrible battle royale mess that started to get better, but it was also, too little too late, and they shut down less than a month after, or just actually almost exactly a month after they released Radical Heights on early access, which kind of came out of nowhere. Like nobody was like, nobody's expecting it. They didn't even know it was coming out.
That game was so bad, but it was so funny. It was so bad and fun to play.
It had good production value. If they had if they had a little bit more time, if they had worked on this game basically instead of Lawbreakers, they probably would have. Exactly. They would have made more money, like right off the bat. If it had come out just as polished as Lawbreakers ended up being, it was cool. Like Lawbreakers, I had hope for initially when I first started playing it, and then of course it was a game that was in development so long that it was in development actually even before Overwatch or Paladins or any of those ones, and it had like constant open beta weekends or closed beta weekends if you got into the keys and stuff. But it was another one that was just like, okay, it's got some cool ideas, but it's not really replayable. That was the problem. And then it just, I don't know, it didn't really go anywhere. But coming out of that, Cliff was talking about some of the other VR, like unannounced VR games that they were working on, which I'll put some links here in chat if you guys haven't seen this stuff yet. He had some really cool like ideas out of this. Like there was a lot of really big ideas and games and concepts and everything else that the studio was working on, but a lot of it they didn't get to it yet because they basically just didn't have the money. And it's kind of unfortunate because some of these games I would have really loved to see like what would have come out of them. Like especially Dragonflies, which look really cool. It was like samurai riding dragons, which I mean, that just sounds cool. That just might be me, but
samurais riding dragons.
Yeah,
samurais. That's all I need.
Right? Samurai sold.
Yeah.
But then you had like companies coming out and like Blizzard, for example. Like I even put the thing here. Like right after they Boss Key announced that companies all over the gaming community or gaming realm started offering their jobs, like saying, hey guys, like we want to help you guys. It sucks. Like here we have job openings. If you guys have something you can fill, like come on over, guys. Like we want to take everybody. And I believe they were in LA too. Yeah, I think they were in LA or San Francisco, one of the two. But like for game developers, like I know a couple game developers personally, and it's not an easy like life. Like most of the time, you're not staying at a job for more than 5 years unless something happens, because the economy in the gaming industry is in terms of jobs and money and everything is always shifting. So it's kind of tough for them. Like, and it was kind of cool to see, that everybody was offering their help and everything with it, which kind of makes it a big deal, But yeah, that was kind of like an odd one that happened. I still wanted to talk about it a little bit from last week's news, because it's unfortunate when a game studio shuts down, even if it's a game that not as many people played. I mean, Radical Heights I think was being played, and I think it's still being played to some degree, but with no developers behind it or no more updates, it's basically like, well, what can you do, Yeah, Dead Island 2, yeah, there's been no news about that in a while. In fact, there was actually, everybody's anticipating a possible E3 announcement because they're starting to get active again, supposedly. I don't know, we don't have anything to work off on that one, but that's kind of the same thing, like, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? That's been one of those games, I think it's been in limbo, what, 2 or 3 years at least now?
Just give it a few more days. Walmart Canada will leak it.
Yeah.
100%.
Wait,
I thought the game just like died and it was over.
I thought so too, to be honest. Like, I
thought they just gave up on it.
Like, Dead Island wasn't one of my favorite zombie games. Like, it was okay. Like, I played it for a bit. It wasn't anything like game changing.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. Like when it first came out, it was like a little bit new and different, but
I
got so old fast. Like,
I think Dying Light did it better though. Like in terms of
I think so too. I would agree with that. I think Dying Light did a really good job. I think one of the problems I stopped playing Dying Light was only one reason, is because there was a glitch in the game where if we were playing with a friend, they could drop you stuff, and then my friend dropped me like some of the most like a katana and all this like stuff, and I picked it up, and from there on in it's so easy. And it just ruined the game for me, and that's the only reason why I stopped playing that game.
Got too easy, basically, from all his high-end stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because you could drop people like the end game stuff at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
pretty much.
And it's like, why? But like, what's the point now?
Like, if you could share materials or something, that would have been one thing, but not like full-on like high-end weapons that you had no access to.
Exactly.
So that
Soulbound.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we get to some of the optional stuff that we had for today, or do you want to move on to the top story?
We can hit the top story. Well, there was one other thing that we didn't cover that was kind of a big deal. It was like Steam released their new update for like your stats. You can see like what they've been tracking on you forever. Did you guys know that?
No, I didn't hear about
even
that
know
actually.
about that.
Yeah, it's super weird to find. You gotta like go into your profile and click on your games, and like whatever, like certain games will track like anything you've ever done. Like
Wow. I know the
saw
hours
a
are
video
counted,
about it
but...
today. No, now
Yikes.
you can see like every game you've ever played, who you've reported for cheating. Like this, it's crazy the shit they've been tracking on you.
Well then.
So now I'm kind of curious. Like, where is this at?
Yeah, like go to your profile and then click on games, and then any game that's been tracking anything that you've ever been doing, Steam had to make that public to you now. So like you'll see a little thing, and you can like beside like I don't know, there's like a couple little drop downs, and any game that has it will have an extra drop down that you can click on.
I see games, but I don't see anything that's crazy. It's just a showcase, and maybe I don't have it enabled. I don't have games here on the right.
Go click on CS:GO.
Oh, you're talking about like, okay. Go scroll down to. Sorry, we're looking at this real quick. Just I'm like kind of curious because I'll even show it on screen if we can find it, or if I can find it anyway. I can't find it right now because I haven't played it recently.
Also, Drayden, that was not me that played. I don't even own Dying Light. I didn't do that to you.
Well, you say for personal game stats or view stats?
Like you hit profile and then like hit games. It'll be like on the right there, and it'll bring up a list of your games.
Yeah. So I see the games.
And then like CS:GO is the one I know of that you can do it on, but there's a bunch of others, and there will be like an extra drop down box. And
oh wow, yeah. So recorded activity, and it says like when you were last logged in.
Yeah, man. Look at all the tabs in there.
Wow. You aren't kidding. Wow.
Yeah, that's all the shit Valve's been keeping tabs on you with.
I think that has to do with a lot, maybe like the whole privacy thing, just because of the Facebook thing. Now everybody's changing their privacies. So they have to email this to you. So it's probably why they disclose that hey, we've been keeping track of this stuff, right?
Yeah, it shows
like,
all the
crazy
people,
bad.
All the people I reported, which like there's one day there was like there's literally like 40 of them for one day. Jesus. All right, so yeah, that's a thing apparently for at least Counter-Strike.
Yeah, and that's sort of new that just like sort of happened.
Interesting. That's they didn't even tell anybody about it. They're just like, oh, here, by the way, it's here.
I found out about it through YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's another thing that was happening this weekend, this week actually, but it started this weekend too. Is the Overwatch 2nd anniversary event was announced? Well, started. It comes out with new cosmetics, new dancing modes, a new deathmatch map, which I haven't played yet. But the big deal about this one is that you can buy any previous event cosmetic that was ever released. So you could kind of go into there and do your whole spiel, have all kinds of cool stuff, which was kind of cool. If you had like stuff that you wanted to get, from like a previous event, or you missed it, like the Summer Games ones, for example, or something like that, like that stuff was available now. Another one, I'm gonna skip actually one of these. Stalker was finally, like, the new domain was launched, and they released a tiny little snippet of a, I guess what would you call a teaser, but it's not even really a teaser. It was just like Stalker 2 is there. It's in development again, but it's not going to be coming for a long time. This one actually kind of was, I should have kept this one in the main one, but so the Outlast devs, Red Barrel, I think is the name of the company.
Yeah.
They announced that their next Outlast is going to be a departure from the series, which I thought was kind of an interesting one, because like Outlast 1, I absolutely loved that game. The first one and the DLC was like hands down still one of the best horror games I've ever played. It gives you such a sense of rush and chaos. It did great. The second one, it had some really good scary moments, but the story in it was bad. I thought the story in it was, in fact, I think I even said it on stream, it was garbage. It was hot garbage. Only because they hid too much of the story in the notes which is before in Outlast 1 and in the DLC, you could find the notes and they would give you a supplement to the story, or they would give you more backstory on why a specific thing happened. But for Outlast 2, they wanted to tell the story through the notes with the game, which didn't make any sense. So if you played through just the game and didn't care about any of the notes and you didn't get them, you wouldn't understand what happened at the end of the game. Like, in fact, that's actually what happened the first time I played through Outlast 2. As I played through it, I only picked up maybe 2 notes. But the notes were so long and convoluted that I was just like, I'm not going to read this on stream. It's just so long. Like, it was literally like the first note I picked up, I think, was 3 pages. I was like, this is like reading a mini novel while I'm trying to play a game. Like, I'm sorry, that's just too much reading for this type of stream. But because, you know, it took you away from the immersion of the game, which really wasn't, you know, shouldn't have been a goal. Like, if you had a little breathing point in Outlast 1 and you were like, hey, I'm going to go hide in this closet real quick. Let me look at my notes real quick. And I can see what's happening while I'm waiting for, you know, Chris the Crazy Man to go and walk by and the hell out of my way so I can leave. You had some reading material, but like this one, it was just like, it was taking away from the game, which kind of was unfortunate. But yeah, the next Outlast is going to be a departure from the series, which kind of makes me sad. I hope the next one is good and it's not such a crazy, weird story. Like, I thought the story in the back end of Outlast 1, without spoiling it, was fantastic. It was unique. It had its own thing. Like, it was definitely really cool. But the second one needed work. So let's go ahead and we'll move on to our top story. And this one, like, not a whole lot of people knew about it. Or I guess knew of him.
I had no idea.
But the cynical Brit, Total Biscuit, passed away this week, which kind of sucked for me because I actually, some of the very first reviews I ever watched of any game actually came from the cynical Brit, or Total Biscuit. And that was like such a kind of a heartbreaking thing. It was, I think, 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago, he was diagnosed with cancer. And I think within a year, it was in remission again. And then it came back. And I guess earlier this year, it came back with a vengeance and got into a few of his organs and everything. And he was only given certain. I don't know if I might be wrong on the timeline. I apologize if I am. But yeah, it basically came back with a vengeance. Affected a few of his organs, and he was given a much shorter time to live. And so earlier this month, he actually had announced on May 1st, I believe. Or I mean, yeah, May 1st. He announced his retirement, and less than a month after his he announced his retirement, actually, you know, left the whole gaming industry. He unfortunately had passed away. He had went into like a surgery or something earlier this week. Everything went good. He was at home resting, and then overnight just kind of went. So that was kind of an unfortunate thing to hear. Definitely my condolences for his family. But
it's
yeah.
really shitty, man.
Yeah, it's kind of a sad note to leave the story on this week, but I kind of felt like it was a big one to talk about, just because the guy, like, huge influencer on games. Like, the guy would give the most honest reviews. It's the equivalent of like the honest, like the Angry German, or the honest reviews. Yeah, honest game trailers, honest game reviews. Same thing, but like you could actually connect with the guy. Like, he gave like such really good commentary. If you guys ever want to go back and look at it, definitely go and check it out. There are a lot of cool game reviews. Like, you'll get to see what I'm talking about when you ever see it. But aside of that, I don't know. There was really too many things. We had a lot of extra stuff this week. I mean, we're definitely going over a bit, but anything else you think we're missing?
Pretty much sums her up.
Looks good.
Yeah, and the only other thing was the Fortnite jetpacks came in, and they were taken out briefly and then thrown back in, and it was kind of just a back and forth weird thing. Apparently, some people were kind of upset. Some people really like them. Some people are upset that they're even there because it apparently makes it a little unfair to the game. I don't know.
But Thanos didn't?
Thanos like made sense.
It's a game mode.
Yeah,
that was a game mode.
But this is in the core game. Like, you could play it on any like variation. Like, Thanos was like a solo mode. If he was in like a team mode, Thanos wouldn't have been as strong as he was.
I think people just don't understand how to like combat the jetpacks. Like, if you're not building and stuff and you're just flying around, you're actually a lot easier to hit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, you're out in the open. Like, you're not gonna have that.
People are just used to like building and shooting down, and now all of a sudden somebody's just floating around in front of them, and they just haven't gotten used to it. I don't think it's OP at all. I think it's just like a different way to play.
There's like a cooldown on it too, right? So you can't.
Yeah,
really
you can only use it for so long, and then it cools down.
It's not too bad. I personally don't like using it just because I feel slow and I get shot out in the air anyways. So
same for the same reason, right? Like, you're gonna get diving around in air, and you're like, oh. But it's the same thing. Like, kind of the same thing we were talking about with even the homing missiles that got finally taken out a few weeks back.
Yeah.
Like those were super overpowered, but for
that
the
was
same reason.
overpowered. I will admit that was too much. Like you could do so much with them. Not only use it as like a weapon, use it as like a rocket ride all the time to get into zone.
That's what I mean. Like so
right.
that's basically the idea of where like I think kind of the jetpacks came from, because people would rocket ride this thing all the way into somebody's base. You could easily get shot down in the air too with it, but people were riding all the way over, dropping in, but they would have the explosion to also help them to like damage part of the base or whatever.
Most good players were shooting those things out of the skies. It's like the people that were like would hear it and then hide. That's who it was like affecting.
Yeah, it's
the same with like the jetpack being like an odd gameplay style. So when people started building under instead of up, that was like wrecking people too, and people were complaining about that. Like, shouldn't be able to build under somebody else's structure, and like. You just have to get used to combating it. Like, there's different strategies. Like, if you don't like it, you shouldn't be playing video games.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that not a whole lot of people knew how to combat it. You know, it was just kind of, it happened. But anyway, I think that's going to be it for this week, guys. If you guys haven't checked out all of our fantastic streamers here on INN, definitely do so. Thanks to Drunk Canadian and Jurian, who joined us today. If you guys haven't checked them out, definitely do so. I'm going to put some links here in the chat if you guys haven't. If you guys haven't checked out all these streamers, definitely do so. Definitely worth it. Always a fun time. Like, you guys will never be disappointed. Later on today, actually not today. There's no more shows on INN today. I think we are the last show for the evening, so it should be a good time. But thank you all so much for joining us. Definitely appreciate it. And we'll see you all next week. Have a good one.
Peace.
Are we off?
Oh.
And that awkward thing when we were standing around.